just thought I'd say boo to all the people at home.
Okay.
Who have just intruded on us staring forlornly into the middle distance.
Okay.
As just happens, when you've got nothing else to do. But that's not true, because we do have things to do.
Yes, we do. We have things to talk about.
We have to talk about today is sudden.
Worth it.
It was absolutely
Worth it.
Yes, so if you were here with us last week, you will know that this month we have taken Nicolas Cage's character, Ricky Santoro, from Snake Eyes, and dropped him into the plot of the Jean-Claude Van Damme film from 1995, I believe, Sudden Death, to give us our new movie, Sudden Eyes. Please feel free. Exclamation mark, thank you for reminding me. Yes. And please feel free to do the hand-eye gestures at home yourselves. Just don't do it 5 times, otherwise one of them will turn up in the mirror behind you. In the mirror behind you? Maybe that's where we are. We're behind ourselves in the mirror.
No.
Is that too much? I'm sorry.
No. It's hurting my brain. Don't do this to me.
I won't. Okay, so what do we have today? Today we have a cheeky Ryoka, I believe.
Ryoka. I'm slightly jealous.
You should be. It's pretty good. Don't know. Where did I get this from?
I have beer.
The eternal beer. What are we doing this week? So, I think very quickly then.
Yes.
Hello, everyone at home. Thank you again for stopping by and joining us. A couple of shout-outs I think I was going to do this week for, again, a couple of good friends. First one is for Aaron and Aaron's Games.
Hey, buddy.
Who is doing really well. I think he must be up to almost 150 subscribers now. I think. I know he's doing pretty well. So do go and check out his channel. It's a bit of a mixture of stuff. We're doing a lot of Dead by Daylight streams at the moment.
Great game.
Yeah. Yes, I do have it somewhere. I should get around to jumping in if you'll have me.
You should. You should join.
And also he does a range of different gaming experiences, whether they're D&D one-shots or similar kind of things like What a Fiasco, which again I'd love you to play sometime.
Oh, the Fiasco game, right?
Yes. Yeah. So yeah, do check those out. And if you do get a bit of an idea of it, check out the playlist on our channel as well that I've done, which is some of the sessions that I was lucky enough to be involved with that. So if you look at Max at Aaron's Games, I'll probably stick it at the end of the video or something. It seems appropriate.
Probably, yes.
Yeah. And the other one I'd like to do is for our friend Rob Turner and his channel, which is called Reynard City Chronicles, all around his comic, which Rob is the writer for.
Of course.
Reynard City, which is really good. I need to catch up. I've got a couple of the issues, but I'm very far behind. I'm sorry, mate. Terrible. That's what you get for being stuck in a parallel dimension.
I think you're only one behind.
Am I?
I think so. You have the first 2, don't you?
I've got the first 2. I think he's a bit more ahead than that because that was a while ago. I got
was
those.
it? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
From looking at his channel earlier, I think he might be up to issue 13. I think.
Oh, good lord.
So yeah.
All right. I should stop talking like I know anything.
It's fine. We'll leave that in. We will. But yes, please do go check out his channel, and of course, as always, links will be in the description below. And on that note, I think we're ready to jump in to... I'm not doing the Sudden Eyes thing again. I've done it twice.
Oh, you have done the thing. It has been done.
We have our acts.
We do. So, Act 1. I don't know about you, but I want to start at the beginning.
So do I, because I have some thoughts.
You have some thoughts. See, I knew we'd have to look at it, and I hadn't formulated a huge number of thoughts, but I knew we had to, because this is the difference between Rick and McLeod.
McCord.
McCord, yes.
McLeod is off being the only one.
Yes, of course. That's a different movie for a different day. Sorry about that, folks. McCord.
Sorry.
Completely different characters. And we sort of mentioned it last time that he's probably, because he would have been a policeman and he would have fallen. It seems appropriate that we take this lovely little prologue scene that gives you time and space to move around to introduce Rick. So I personally had imagined something like I don't know, something like a drug bust that Rick had somehow been involved in going horribly wrong and people got killed.
Okay.
I'm seeing it being the scene of Rick's downfall and him losing his job from the police.
Before we get to that,
right?
The thing that I had, and it's not a problem. It's just on reflection from when we did last week's. I have problems with this.
You have problems with this? What?
I have problems with this idea that we automatically went into it as he's lost his job. He's now doing this. My problem is that there's a risk here that we're neutering our protagonist from the start. Well, when we meet Ricky Santoro at the start of Snake Eyes, he's a man on top of the world.
Yes.
He's a homicide detective. He's happily married with a kid. He's got a girlfriend. All these wonderful things. He takes backhanders. He is a larger-than-life character because he basically is untouchable. We don't get a more humble and a more down-to-earth Ricky Santoro until the end of the film because of the events of the film. So we lose a lot of who he is who we get, certainly who he's at the start of the film, which is where we would normally pick up our characters from.
I didn't assume that the prologue would in any way humble him. I just assumed it would be his downfall.
Okay.
My selections of scenes were meant to indicate that going forward.
That's fine, because I thought of it something like that. If he's lost his job, he's lost everything, he's lost his wife and all that, then we would end up with a character who's more analogous to how we find McCord after what happens to him in the original film. And that is more analogous to, as I say,
I'm not suggesting we magically
film.
redeem Ricky Santos. It's not going to happen. No, this is simply a loss of status. It's his downfall. We're seeing why he's no longer a cop.
Fair enough.
And why he ends up in the position he does at the beginning of the movie. It's just that instead of a valiant effort to save a life that goes nowhere, it would be an actual error or crime that he either caused people to die or got caught in the process and was fired and is no longer that guy, can't be a policeman anymore.
Fair enough. I was just, because when I looked at it, and I looked at it more and more, I just kind of thought, it's something that, if as a result of that, the circumstances there are similar. He loses his wife as a result of it. He loses his wife in the original film as a result, and we see he's lost all of the things, all of his status is gone, and that's what makes him, by the end of Snake Eyes, a humble man because of his mistakes. And I'm saying if we're dropping that in with what's happened to him before, because that's like 2 years before the actual action of the film starts, then it's like, we've just, as I said, cut the balls off our main character before the start of the film.
You've taken away his status, but there's... I imagine Rick being the kind of guy who's going to take that and he's not going to be able to stop the fall from happening, but he's a guy who has nonetheless in the last 2 years wrangled a horrifically bad situation into being the guy at the stadium.
Yeah.
He's climbing back up the ladder. He's wrangling back his authority.
Which is fine. So that's good, because that's kind of where I was going as a possible...
And I was planning on showing that in the subsequent scenes I was going to pick on.
That's brilliant, because that's kind of was the angle I approached it from as well. Because when I had this thought, I kind of divided it into, well, there's two possibilities here. We either go for the fact that he is still a cop, and so we still get the guy who he was, again, at the beginning of Snake Eyes.
Yeah.
Or we still go down the track that he's lost his job, but he's done it in such a way that his character is not impaired, shall we say. Which I kind of thought that is, he's lost his job, but to have gone public about him losing his job would have caused more damage to the department, so they've just asked him to leave. So he's got away with something terrible, and literally got away with it.
Oh, I see. I can see your point. I have to admit, I kind of like mine better. With him actually, he's talked his way back up. He's wrangled his way back into a position of authority. Like he took the fall, and now he's just, doing what he does and working the scene.
The Leprechaun never changes its spots.
Yeah. I'm almost certain that he has a bet on the match.
Yeah.
I was going to bring it up later, but yes, things like that. I don't think he's changed his spots. He's just been put in a bad situation and is clawing his way back up the ladder in the only ways he can figure out how to.
Fair enough. I mean,
that's what I had imagined it being.
If he's essentially got away with it, okay, he's lost his job. That would mean that he can still claw his way back up. Because he still feels a little bit untouchable.
Why does he need to be untouchable?
Because it feels like that's a lot of what he is. A lot of how he feels justified in doing what he does is that I'm wearing the badge, I can pretty much do what I want.
People who do this don't need to be untouchable. There are lots of people who aren't untouchable who do it all the time. In fact, it kind of plays into the sleazeball nature of his character, that he's continuing to do this whilst being in this compromised position.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm just trying to add this into that as well.
Well, that's it. I'm just not sure what it adds.
As a corrupt cop, he's not getting a job in security, especially not at a national venue like that.
Right, for starters, no, that's not true at all. It happens all the time. People who've been disgraced from positions get jobs in security all the time. It happens in England, happens in America. I know people who are doormen and security men, things like that, who've done dodgy things in the past. Security is not law. It's about whether you can do the job. It's not about whether you've got a great reputation.
Fair enough.
But also, going back to what I've literally been saying for the last 5 minutes, Ricky is the kind of guy who could talk his way back up the system. The first 5-10 minutes of Snake Eyes is all about Rick's deal, his schmooze, the way he does stuff. The existing structure of sudden death, sudden eyes doesn't allow for much of that. But if he's had a downfall and he's worked his way up, like it would be in the interactions that he has with his work colleagues and things like that, who he talks up to and who he talks down to, and all of those things. It allows. It's like some people would be like, "Who the hell are you? That you're nobody that got fired for being a corrupt cop." And then there are the people that he schmoozed and he knows, and you can see his stick working.
Yeah.
Whereas if he's untouchable, everybody just accepts everything he does, and you don't get into that.
No, I see that. And it makes more sense. We need to play that up more because it's not something that's readily available in the original plot of sudden death.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it gives, it means it makes it more. Him as a character has more impact on the film in this way. Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry about that. A little bit of a
little bit of a tussle there. As to how it happens,
and it's something that probably did go public too, or some of the details came out, and it's like, we can't just turn a blind eye to what you're doing anymore. You go.
Yes, it needs to be big, whatever it is. It needs, like, bang, you got people killed. Bang, oh, you're corrupt, and you've been caught with the cocaine in your hands or something. We don't want to extend the prologue scene. We wanted to just a few minutes, but enough to let us know, oh no, he's this guy, he's cocky, he's loud, but he's corrupt. And then when we move on, we get to see what that's cost him and the fact that he's still at it.
The pond may have got smaller, but he's still pissing in it.
That is a great phrase that I've never heard before. But yes, I like it. Gold star.
Okay, so from there we jump to 2 years later, and then we get the all the stuff of the film. We get the setup with the Secret Service, yada yada.
I'm tempted to say that my second scene is where he picks up the kids.
I think I had that one as well. Yeah, I think we're pretty much...
Yes, a bit like the first act of Die Hard, there's not a lot for the main character to do in the first act. There's only a few scenes that are of any significance to the main character. And picking up the kids is establishing this new status quo. Of course she divorced him because he got caught and disgraced, and I mean, for whatever reason, whether it's because he's a criminal or because he, was disgraced or because he had no money. I mean, it doesn't matter what reason, but we get to pick him up in this
Found out about his missus.
Post-career situation. So now he's trying to be, I imagine him trying to be that schmoozer to his kids. Mm-hmm. And then with her, she's like, I don't take your bullshit. And she just lays it out. And it's like that. Oh, come on, babe. Come on. Look,
Scalper, did you get those tickets from?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. That's what I mean. We want to continue establishing his schmoozy character going forward.
I take it then with this bit, we're going to keep the little things in there, like the sign language.
Yes.
Because I know we're going to get to that a lot later.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yes. I mean, and that's something that I can just as easily see Nick Cage doing as Mr. Van Damme.
Yep.
He can do those tender moments just like the best can. It's going to be establishing the scene for us, really, the new normal.
That was important. We needed to, again, establish who he is. And then pretty much him going to the stadium and all those kind of things. Again, those little bits when he's talking to other people. You may get the two guys who are on security when he goes there with the kids.
Yeah.
One of them may be, oh yeah, you're right. The other one is like, what are you talking to him like that for? So
Yeah.
again, we get that idea. There's some people who like him, there's some who don't.
The mascot girl.
Joan, yes.
Yeah, Joe, you can imagine him being quite a bit more like, hey baby.
It'd be a bit sleazy, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit sleazy too, and things like that, the little intros, that set it up.
It's only a minor thing, again, I don't want to dwell too much on it, but it'd be interesting to know. Because they've got this different dads now, I mean, how do you think, more so I think Tyler than Emily, how do you think they're going to take that? I mean,
Emily is far too young to understand the interactions happening.
Yeah.
So if it's going to have an influence, it's going to have an impact on Tyler.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, like, hey, way to go, Dad. I don't know.
How, is he going to be down on his dad as well in the same way that Tyler was with McCord?
Creepy dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yes, he would have a comment. Yes, I think you're right.
My third one then for Act 1 is the locker room.
Meet the team, right? Yes. Okay. All right, go on.
Yeah, I just think it's again, some of it will be similar, some of it will be different. Obviously, he doesn't speak French as far as we know, so he won't be able to converse with them in French. I think because it is, they're the home team.
Uh-huh.
So again, you may get some of their some of the people that he's rubbed up the wrong way.
Ah, right, yes. Okay. Right.
I know Ricky being Ricky that I think he'd be a lot more direct and not so bashful about the comments to Tolliver. But he should be in a rocking chair.
Oh, right, yes.
Things like that. I think
he wouldn't apologise for that. It's I call it the way I say it, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think just little things like that, I thought it'd be a nicer scene.
Okay.
And I think it was also an opportunity to throw in, like with the original, where he has to go and change the light bulb. Maybe he has to go check a door is locked. Or he's got one of those scan things that the security guys have to do to say, yeah, I've checked this door.
Oh, right, okay.
So yeah, that's what he does now. He's not a cop anymore. Dad's not. So later on, when Tyler and Emily are talking...
Ah, right, okay.
So rather than he's not a fireman anymore, he changes light bulbs.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he's not a cop anymore. He checks door. He locks doors.
Oh, right, okay.
Just so we can get the analogy of what we have for our new dynamic.
Okay, yeah, I see. Nice. No, I agree with all of that. I have to admit. I'm totally happy with that. For myself, my third scene was the one I simply titled Stay in Your Seats, which is the beginning of the match. He's got the kids in their seats. I imagine this is going to play a lot more differently, because, again, I imagine a world where he certainly has a bet on the match. Mm-hmm. So as soon as the play starts, he's almost, stay in your seats. Yeah, but, no, come on, ref, come on. What? No, stay in your seat. And it would be all about his distraction, because once he's got the kids there and he's done his dadly duty, he's suddenly distracted by his own shit.
Yes, I love it. Oh, gold star, definitely.
Oh, thank you. But it's like I said, I mentioned it earlier. It's why I was thinking that's going to be the difference, because at the beginning, McCord is distracted by the kids.
Yeah.
Whereas Rick is going to be distracted by the match.
By the match, yes.
Because he cares about the outcome. Because he's a bettor. He gambles. He risks everything all the time. It's what he does. As soon as that match starts, he's going to be so distracted by that. That's why he's not going to notice all the dodgy shit going on around him.
I think while this is... Oh, no, this may be too soon to do it. If he's doing that at the scene when the match is starting, and if he sees a decent tackle, just as a little throw, and we can have Ricky go.
Sort of stand up,
here comes the pain, baby.
Oh yeah, yeah. Why not? Since we're writing the script,
and then we go through to the hostile takeover, and that all happens, and that brings us to the end of Act 1. Act 2, which I think starts again with a bit with the kids on their seats.
Yes.
So a little bit later, isn't it? The bit where they start talking about Dad not being a cop anymore. I think that's after the bit with the call from Hallmark to Fosse, isn't there?
Yes.
And then there's a bit of a montage of stuff that's happening with the game and other bits and pieces. And again, because we don't really see our protagonist in any of this at all.
Not a lot. No, it's mostly what's going on elsewhere. It's not until Emily gets out of her seat that things start getting complicated.
Yes, that's the bit with the drinks, isn't it? And
yeah,
when
Sprite or Coke moment. Yeah. at that point, everything else is going on, sort of in the back. But, yes. As we said, Rick is a cop, and he's going to notice all of these things happening backstage. He'll know something about them, but possibly seeing the sheer amount of fuss being made in the kitchen and so on and so forth will make him aware of just how important the VPs are at this match.
I should imagine, I mean, if he's just working that, we're saying that he's just a security guard. He's not in charge or anything. He's just a regular guard.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he will obviously know who is there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things he would probably pick up more so as well is the amount of people who are there who he doesn't recognise, but a lot of them are wearing stewards' uniforms.
Yes.
So
It's not necessarily about the VP. It's about the everything's different. Who are these guys? Who's those? It's the cop in him going suspicious.
But
I
again,
think we should see that.
We should see it, but he doesn't think about it too much because
he's worried about his bet and things.
Every time he's going, checking, listening to the score or checking the screens to see how the score is going while he's doing his rounds.
Things like that will constantly distract him. Yeah.
Cool. And then we lose the mayor's wife.
Yes, goodbye, mayor's wife. Because
And
Fosse has to make a point.
yes. And then everything changes. Because it's building up nicely, and then a body just falls out of the toilet.
Emily and the mascot. I have marked this.
Yes. So again, that will play out pretty much the same.
Mm-hmm.
He spots...
Well, at this
with
point,
IC.
is there any reason why Rick would have noticed anything particularly unusual? I don't think so.
No, I said he'll be aware of there's a lot of people that he doesn't recognise wearing uniforms for employees of the place, but he will probably just put it down to being Secret Service.
Yeah, okay, right, yeah. Yes, I see what you mean, right. So he's noticed his cop brain has done a thing, but because of his position... Yeah. Which brings Emily into the box.
This brings me up to my first scene.
The mascot fight.
Yes. We can't not. It's fantastic.
Okay,
It's a brilliant fight.
It is.
I'm not sure how it's going to go because I'm not sure Rick Santoro can... I don't think he's going to beat Carla in a fist fight. She is one tough lady.
What are we basing this on?
I can only base it on what we see, and that's the equivalent fight from Sudden Death against Van Damme.
Which is a physical brawl.
Against somebody who's a lot better trained at fighting than, as far as I know, either Nick Cage or his character is portrayed to be.
Portrayed to be in what?
In Snake Eyes, the only time you ever see him get into a conflict with himself, obviously, is with a championship boxer.
Yes.
And he doesn't even try and fight.
No, that's not true at all. What about... goodness me. You're going to make me look up the character's name. The dealer. Louis? No.
No. It's
Cyrus. He's happy to jump around and brawl with people. But that guy is a boxer who's never been beaten.
I kind of dismissed the Cyrus fight because most of the damage that Cyrus does, he does to himself by jumping down the stairs, and he's also in fear of...
But that's what I mean.
Because he's a cop.
In the fight, in the film, this is a physical brawl. It's not a martial arts brawl. It's a physical brawl against a female opponent who's wearing a mascot costume. And it's not the female part, it's the mascot costume that's the real problem for me.
Okay, this is interesting, because I said
Especially the way the fight ends.
See, I thought that...
Because that's not a decapitation, that's a death by Hobart.
Yes, that's true, which is something I've never seen.
Which was literally just her getting caught on the machine and being dragged in. It was pure luck that you won that fight.
Having, and I think I'm sure you have as well at some point, having been a kitchen porter.
Oh no!
How hot
the scene is marked "Death by Hobart."
Yes,
because I wanted to know if you knew what I meant as well. Just for you folks who don't know, a Hobart machine is an industrial dishwasher. It's the huge machine that drags her in and gives her a deep, deep, deep clean at about 200 degrees.
This is true. I just thought there'd be more. Ricky would be more focused on getting hold of the gun than, say, McCord is in the equivalent fight in the original film.
Why? Because he's not likely to have a weapon himself. He's a security guard. At most, he's got a walkie-talkie and maybe a stick.
Oh, that would make for more of an interesting fight. Because it's set up, I mean, yes, it's downplayed, and I've looked at a couple of reviews about Sudden Death, and it was apparently that was on purpose. They downplayed Van Damme's martial arts credentials.
Yes. That's the reason. If they had done it in the particular standard martial arts style at the time, then I'd be going, yeah, Ricky's going to have problems.
For me, there was enough of his martial arts chops in there, which he relies on within within the duration of the fight, that I looked at it as, these are things that Ricky's not going to be able to do.
I didn't see that at all.
Okay, go. No, please.
It was more the opposite. It was drawn to my attention that he was very much not fighting in his usual style. He was just brawling. He was caught. Yes, the woman's a skilled fighter, but she's smaller than. Well, no, she'd be about the same size as Rick, but she's still in that ridiculous penguin costume. Which is just going to, anybody put into a stupid fat suit is not going to be able to move as well.
No, okay.
So that gives Rick an advantage. And at the end of the day, it's largely, yes, she's got some kind of military training, but it's not martial arts training. It's just punching and kicking. It's just doing it efficiently.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, like I said, the fight ends with pure luck. I think he could give her enough of a run for her money that the fight would end pretty much the same way.
Cool.
Some of the other fights, on the other hand.
Yes. So the bit where in the original film, where McCall slashes her with the knife.
Yeah.
And it just goes through the padding. So he pulls out his nightstick and hits her across the face with it or something.
Yeah. And it skims over the top of her head. It goes hoink over it and goes hoink.
What I would then add to this then for this particular fight, because of who we're dealing with here, and because this film, or the original film, is pretty much recognised as a die-hard clone, with it being Nicolas Cage, I reckon we'll get a bit more chatter during the fight.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Especially when he knows it's his daughter.
It is, but also because Ricky's a much more chatty character as well, he would have something to say. There's no doubt about that whatsoever.
I must admit, just before we go any further, there was one little thing that I always, with this film, kind of go, huh? So we know that Fosse and that have taken out the phones, or we find out shortly after this that they've taken out the phones.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It always confused me that the Secret Service guy who's on the elevator seems to be blissfully unaware of what's going up in the box, even though the Secret Service outside, who probably still would be able to communicate him through his radio, haven't told him. The guy that Carla kills when she takes Emily into the lift. It always made me go...
No, I see your point, but you're forgetting something. Who's in charge of everybody outside?
Again, drinks on you, man. Yes, of course. Okay, so we have resolved the fight with Carla.
We have. Which is the first, takes us to the first phone call between Hallmark and Fosse, when everything appears to be going as normal. Mm-hmm. And then we have the fight with Dooley.
Is that the character's name?
I think it's Dooley. I'm pretty sure he had the cap. He was a bit Irish.
I just put him down as...
it was meant to be Dooley.
I think I put him down as Shady Guard.
Right, yep. And that's when it starts to get a bit complicated, because he's a lot more on the, I've got a weapon.
Yes. Trained on you, and...
Yeah.
It's very much about his reflexes.
So, are we thinking that...
I'm thinking that Ricky Santoro is a lot more suspicious kind of character, that he would not go first into the room.
Well, I was going to say he would... I'm leaning the same way, but in a slightly different angle. Do you think he would manipulate it? Because he'd be like, I'm suspicious of this guy, I'm not going to go first.
Yeah, I think he would. Yeah, and as we've already established, we've established that he's twigged. There's a number of people in here who are wearing uniforms for the establishment who are not employees here.
Yeah.
He's just had a fight with somebody who's in his friend's costume. He's just found his friend dead in the office.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah.
Or does that happen after? Sorry. Him finding Joan's body in the office is after this fight with Dooley.
Yes.
Yeah. So, but yeah, and this is possibly one of the guys, because we do see him in a similar location as Santoro now earlier in the film. So he will have seen him and probably tweaked, I don't know you. So yes, I think he would try and manipulate him into going into the room first.
Yeah.
Because he's like, yeah, I'm not that naive. Although they still never explained how they got rid of Carla's body.
No, they don't. I mean, there's so much that just sort of don't ask about this movie. There's a lot of stuff that don't ask about this movie.
So Would that help with your problem with this then? By having Dooley go into the room first?
Yes, I think that Rick would be clever enough to try and get some sort of advantage over him. He'd expect something.
And we're going to go with the same thing again. The gun drops into the machine, into the Hobart, and he can't get it out.
Yes, of course, yes.
Is he going to take his life on this one as well?
I never killed no one, did he?
Yeah. I mean, the Carla one, it's not his fault.
No, you're right. You're right. He'd be tempted. There'd probably be a moment when we'd see him thinking about it.
Mm-hmm.
But ultimately, I don't know, just fucking tie him up and stash him somewhere.
Yeah, so in the fight with Carla is a different thing. I mean, we can even throw that into there where he tries to pull her out.
It's an accident. Yeah.
It's an accident. We can even throw it into there where he gets up and tries to pull her out, but because he's so knocked senseless because of the fight, he can't get there in time.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. No, I agree completely. That sounds
that's
about
brilliant.
Right. Yeah.
Sorry, just as a little thing to throw in.
Yeah, an extra little layer to it, yeah.
Because I know it's
nice.
With Dooley as well, it's a difficult one to do because it happens because he's got the knife through his throat.
Yeah.
So there's, he has every reason to try and use lethal force to stop him.
But it's that knife to the throat, bang, with the hilt. Knock him out.
Because he's got him round here, hasn't he? He's got the knife here, and he grabs the piece of bone off the counter, breaks it, and stabs it into his neck. So if he grabs the bit of bone but doesn't break it and just percusses him with it,
percusses him with it,
enough for him to get the leverage to get out of the hold.
Yes,
and then elbow him or whatever, throw him or whatever pop training he's had to subdue a perp. Yeah, and then just tie him up.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just stash him in a cupboard somewhere or something.
Okay. Right, what have I got? So the next one that I had was his call with Hallmark. Because it seemed like a nice one to do, because it's the moment where
that's the last scene in this act for myself.
It's the last scene with him, because I think because we said the end of the act is going to be the reveal that he's not kosher.
Yeah.
Cool. And oddly enough, again, I'm going to have to say it. This call with Hallmark, you're going to be sitting there going, is he in Pittsburgh or is he in Nakatomi Towers?
Yes, because there's going to be a lot of banter.
Yes,
and a lot of "Are you fucking kidding me?"
Yeah.
No, I know what I'm talking about. No, I used to be a cop. No,
yeah.
But fuck you, bullshit. A lot of that.
And again, you probably say, my kids. So my kids are in danger in this.
I was going to say, this is the point where we start to see the turn for him in his character arc?
I think it is.
Because there's one version where you see it where it's like, no, screw you, guy, I'm the hero, and the hero's about to save your day. And there's another version where it's, screw you, buddy, my kids are involved now.
Yeah. And I think we can even work that into it. It's not until he's saying it to somebody else and he hears him saying it out loud, that's when it really hits home.
No, I can see it. I can picture it, like him literally saying it and then...
Yeah.
And actually realising, yeah, I like that.
Cool. And again, we get the same from Hallmark. It's like, you don't take any action. So, you're not taking any fucking action.
Yeah.
So, somebody has to.
Of course.
There is a bit more in this act, because obviously it's a little bit later that we find out that Hallmark is not sunny side up.
No, there's the conversation they have. There's the scene when the transfers all start to happen, and the bad guys start to think, well, maybe we won't have to kill everybody. And then it's the conversation between Hallmark and Fosse that reveals that he's...
But that's a little bit later, because there's quite a bit happens between there and
it's literally 2 scenes. Not the scene when he reveals to McCord that he's a traitor, but when it's revealed to the audience that he's the traitor, when he talks to Fosse.
In the thing, yeah, I've got that. See, look, because I went through and I still made a quick note of where all the scenes are.
Yes.
I've got his scene with his phone call with Fosse from the office is here. I've then got all of this, which is all of the stuff from McCord going around starting to deactivate the bombs.
Yes.
And this is where he turns up with Fosse in the
yes,
arena.
And I'm talking about the phone call with Fosse.
Oh, I must have missed that then, because I had the first time that it's revealed is when he turns up in the arena.
No.
And
It's
he's
when
talking
he
to him
calls
face to face.
Fosse to say, your guys are fucked up, there's a guy in there who's helping out.
I thought I
That
missed
he
it.
was on the inside.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm terribly sorry. This is my bad. Because I'm sure when I watched it before, I remember a bit where Fosse, he gets a call on a phone that's not the phone that he's been using, and he leaves the room.
Yes.
There's a bit where he turns up and where there's an actual face-to-face between Hallmark and Fosse.
Yes.
That's the bit I thought you were talking about.
Oh, right, yeah, no.
Ah.
No, I'm talking about the reveal.
That's a lot shorter than I thought, because I was hoping we could sort of start looking at how we're going to handle the problem of him defusing the bombs. Because I'm pretty sure that Ricky Santoro does not know how to defuse a bomb.
What, more than a fireman does?
Okay. I don't know what other background he's supposed to have had, but
logistically speaking,
Yeah,
a policeman is more likely to know how to defuse a bomb than a fireman is.
phew, thank you. That solved that problem for me straight away. Because I was trying to think, so does he try and call them, and he ends up speaking to the other guy that's not McCord, so he can then, he knows something, and they put somebody on, and he talks him through how to do the first one, and then he can go and do the...
Oh no, because in the movie it's very apparent that McCord is guessing as he's snipping each wire. The way he does this,
Yeah.
he's guessing each time. He's guessing.
I looked at that as just for effect. Oh no, but he kind of knows what he's doing. He
No,
approaches it carefully, and yeah, okay.
I mean, bomb squads are not usually attached to fire departments, so the idea that a fireman would be trained in bomb disposal is actually...
As just as ludicrous as saying that he is.
Well, no, cops sometimes might, because sometimes cops, and they will be trained up to a certain level of bomb disposal, and then they'll be taught, if it's above this...
Fair enough. Okay, that's brilliant, because that means then I've got loads, well, I won't say loads, I've got stuff left, because, as I said, I'd called Act 3 a lot later. As I said, I thought it was when there has the face-to-face between Fosse and Hallmark. But you're right, there is that phone call. How did I miss that? Well, you don't know, you weren't there.
I've only watched it twice.
That brings us up to the end of Act 2.
It does indeed.
And we will take a pause here. Please don't pause it. You don't know what it's like. We may not be able to move, but we can think.
Nope, still breathing.
Phew. Okay, so yes. Thank you again for joining us, as always. Please do come back and join us next week when we will see how this works out. So it's going to be a long Act 3 then.
It is a long third act in this one.
Looking forward to it. And then, so we'll see how we resolve Sudden Eyes, and then get into Snake Death.
Snake Death.
With Jean-Claude Van Damme in a film noir, which will be an interesting one.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
I think I've probably got more notes on that one, but we will see. Do check out our shout-outs this week to Reynard City Chronicles and to Aaron's Games.
Please do.
And as always, please do come back and join us next week, and look after one another, and enjoy a sliver of freedom.
Just a tiny bit. Just a tiny one.
Take care.
As always, guys, TTFN.
Ba 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 ba.